Hello.
Oh, good morning. You sound very not echoey.
I'm in a different... I've moved. I've had enough. Wait, my microphone's a little bit wobbly. Yep, No, I've just come to a different place because it's less echoey.
Where are you now? Tell me.
Yeah.
I want to picture you.
I'm in a place called Sala, which is a studio that I've worked at a lot, and that is run by a collective. And I'm in the kitchen, and it's deadly quiet because today is Pasquetta, or the day after Easter Sunday.
Yeah, exactly. You've been going around
and so no one's
saying
around
to people, how do you say Happy Easter in Italian?
I mean, I imagine it's quite similar to Portuguese. Like, it'd be something like, I'm guessing Portuguese is something like Buona Pasquas.
Feliz Pasqua.
Wow.
You did well.
Feliz. Oh, Feliz.
Pasqua.
Feliz Pasqua.
Yeah, good.
Yes, it's Buona Pasqua in Italian.
Okay.
This is a podcast in which two friends talk about the pleasures, absurdities, and imperfections of being human. I'm Simon Ellis.
And I'm Lee Miller. Welcome to Midlifing.
You were talking quietly?
Maybe. I don't know. It's early morning still, so this is my early morning voice.
Yeah.
This is I've just got out of bed.
So you don't do vocal warm-ups before podcasting with me?
No, I probably should.
Yeah, because I got up especially early so that I could get my voice warm and ready.
Well, I'm working on the principle that people will enjoy my freshly rolled out of bed voice because it sounds a little,
a little rough.
A little ready. Like,
a little coarse.
He's been drinking wine last night and smoking cigarettes. Both of these things are true.
You weren't smoking cigarettes.
But I was drinking wine.
Yeah. 1 out of 2. 1 out of 2 ain't bad. Isn't that a song?
Nearly Meatloaf. Nearly.
Nearly Meatloaf. That's just half a meatloaf.
It's just meat. Just loaf.
It's very nice. It is very nice to hear your voice. Raw, coarse, or otherwise.
It feels like it's been a while, even though it hasn't really been a while.
Yeah.
It's just you've been packing a lot in your life.
I have. It's been... I had a very funny moment on... What day was it? Saturday. We went out to this farm, which is called Abba Corrente. And when I say we, that was Igor Moreno, Lil, and me. Mm-hmm. And it was a very nice day. It was like, 24 and sunny and
lovely.
we were working. And then one of the things we were going to do, of course, is I'd started some pizza dough the night before. And
of course you did.
Yeah, and I was going to heat up the oven, this little makeshift oven, which I sent a photo of it to you. And I was making pizzas. And the oven was roaring hot. I mean, it was like 420 degrees at one point, which is hilarious given it's just it's bricks and concrete and just held together with nothing. So you just stack up bricks and then, so it's very makeshift. Mm-hmm. And as I was making these pizzas, which were nice, as pizzas hot out of a wood-fired oven tend to be, I was thinking, this is going to be a bit embarrassing. I was thinking, I bought a house so I could do this. that I bought a house. When I say I mean we bought a house, but my rationale for buying a house was different from Lil's rationale for buying a house. They just happened to both involve buying a house. Apartment, and mine was that I could make wood-fired pizza. It did feel a little odd.
Was Lil's rationale a little bit more, I don't know, long-term, thoughtful, sensible, based upon the life?
I don't know what you're saying.
As opposed to
I don't know what you're saying there.
crust.
I don't know what you're hinting at. Could you be a little bit, could you be a little bit more transparent? What are you getting at there, Lee Miller?
I think you have bought an apartment for exactly the right reason.
Thank you. I think that's exactly what you were saying, wasn't it? Yes, no, Lil's...
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Lil's, yes, far more considered, far less irrational, far less what the fuck, for sure. But God, the pizza was good.
I bet it was.
Yeah.
I bet it was.
And how are you? That's enough about me.
What do I think about you?
Yeah, let's talk about you.
How am I?
What do you think of me? How are you?
I travelled down country to see my parents because it was my dad's 84th birthday. Is that right? Yeah,
and
I think so.
and you did send a photo, and you all looked magnificent, I have to say. Your dad looks so well. Oh my God.
I know. It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
I know.
You've got some of his genes.
Well, yeah, I've got some of them. I've got some of my mother's. Yeah, his realization is that everybody he talks to now is significantly younger than him. And he was talking about, what was he saying? Oh, that's right. He's got a couple of friends who he goes and plays pool with once a month. So one of them has a big, shed with a pool table in it, and they go and play pool in this guy's shed. And one of them was Portuguese, definitely. I think one of them maybe wasn't. Anyway, one of them, I don't know who it was, had come back from a holiday to Ireland, and they'd had a pint of Guinness.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, that pint of Guinness, and I can't tell you if this is an accurate representation of how much things cost, because I don't go out. The pint of Guinness cost me 11 euros.
Yeah, that's possible.
Yeah, and my dad went, how much? 11 euros. He went, that would be it's like 9 or 10 quid. And I went, yeah, we know how exchange rates work. And but my dad's point was, that was easily a week's wage when he started working. And he went, and that was a week's good wage. And these people looked at me and went, what do you mean people used to get paid £10 a week? And then he went, oh, of course. These were people in their 60s.
Yeah.
And so by the time they were working, it wasn't 10 quid a week. And it's those kinds of moments where he kind of tries to translate something to his experience, and he suddenly realizes he's always the oldest person in the room.
Yes, I'm increasingly noticing that in situations at work where I look around and I go, and I think we've talked about this before, right? Just because being the youngest and being the smallest at school, I've always tended to feel like I'm the least in the room, the least whatever, and I still have that feeling. But increasingly noticing, I look at people, I go, oh, I've always thought you're older than me. When I look at you now, I go, oh, you're significantly younger than me. Yeah. And it's just, it's a strange one, isn't it? I mean, maybe it doesn't really matter, but it just is a strange kind of dawning or something like that.
I think
we're talking about midlifing here. This is a little odd. Do you want to stop? Should we stop? Should we go to something else? Something more like golden showers or something?
We'll stop in a minute. But I think the dawning realization is exactly what you just said in passing, that it doesn't matter. But at the same time, I think we impart such import, well, I love saying that, to our ages at various points in life, because, you're a fourth year, and it's like, I'm definitely older than a second year.
Yeah, and then you're old enough to go to a movie that's,
exactly, yeah, so there's all these things. And those are the bits when it's also formative, isn't it? It's also fresh, and you're building yourself at that moment where being 1 year or 2 years older or younger than someone is really important. And then you get to life and you suddenly realise, oh, I've got friends who are 20 years younger than me, and I've got friends who are 20 years older than me, and they are my intimates. They are my close friends. And, obviously our experiences are wildly different. But also there's lots of things that's, this connective tissue that holds us together.
Yeah, it's a strange thing, because the thing that I think there's something also about the not mattering, which is that you forget also that it matters to young people. Meaning that if some young person might find out my age and go, oh, oh, you look whatever for this age, and whatever that is. And there's something about it, the mattering differently. I don't know what else to say about it, but it's just a very curious. I guess I'm most aware of it in relation to physical capabilities changing, of course. So those are how do you say, like clear markers of age. That there are real things, they're tangible things. But other than that, I just liked what you said then about, that kind of the sort of network or of friends, which are, we're, very diverse ages. And we had this experience over the weekend, just going, wow, we're quite an eclectic group here. There was 2 people from the Basque Country, an Italian, Australian, and New Zealand. It sounds like the beginning of a really bad bar joke.
Yeah, a bad joke, yeah. Before I want to come back to complexity of people in a second, but I was making a cake for my dad's birthday. By the way, the first one didn't come out so well because my mum's oven, she didn't tell me, cooks hot.
Oh, did you? So it was cooked on the outside, not on the inside?
No, it was cooked on the inside, but it was super cooked on the outside.
So you had? Did
and
you
my
repeat
dad's just
it?
going. Yeah, I did. Yeah. I said I'll throw it in the bin, and my dad was like, "You'll do no such thing. I'll just cut the crust off."
So
we ate cake middle.
Cut the crust off.
Cut the crust off. Sorry, I said it with my northern vowels. I'll cut the crust off. Is that better? So I can do it in my posh voice.
In Spain, where does
It'll take me a while to get back
where
to
does
my
the rain stay?
I wouldn't know, Simon. I'm in Portugal.
I think you dodged that question.
I think, yeah.
I think you've got it.
No,
by Jove, I think you've got it.
So my dad just cut the crust off his cake, and Bob was so happy because she said, "This is my dream, just eating the inside cake."
But wait, so you didn't make another cake?
No, I did. I made another cake the next day, which now that once I'd worked out that I needed to take about 30 degrees off what it said on the on the dial.
You should
and watch it
for your mum's next birthday. You should totally get her an
oven thermometer. Yeah. I know. Well, anyway, as I was making the cake, I said, "Oh, can I get a sieve? Where could I look?" She said, "Oh, I'll get it." And my mum goes and gets down on all fours to go underneath the sink to get a sieve. And I said, I could have completely got that. She said, "I'm perfectly capable of getting a sieve. It just takes longer." And so it wasn't that it was beyond her capability. It wasn't even that she didn't enjoy doing it. It's just it took longer. And my dad the other day was chopping some wood for a bonfire. Not a bonfire, dickhead.
Barbecue.
A barbecue, thank you. A bonfire. Yes, we were having
I think of him as BBQ Norman, basically. That's what I think of him as Barbie. I just want to call him Barbie every time I see him.
Call him Barbie.
Put a few shrimps on the Barbie, would you, Norman?
It was a very meat-heavy day.
I bet it was.
But I will come to that.
Did you enjoy that more than Bob? So just to...
No, Bob always enjoys it
more
than me. I struggle with meat. I would if I could be vegetarian all the time, I would be perfectly happy.
Yeah.
But Bob wouldn't be happy, and it's just
Yeah. Okay, sorry.
No, it's fine. But my dad was chopping some wood for the barbecue, and he just went, "Oh, the floor's getting further and further away." And as a result of these two comments, I asked my mum. I said, "How are you feeling about getting old?" And she went, "Oh, it's great. It's lovely." I said, "It's not difficult." She went, "Oh, no, it's just slower and it's a bit more painful, but it's not bad. It's great." I don't know why people get
Well, they're also in good health though, because I'm sure there are people.
I know.
They're probably outliers in that respect. Actually.
Well, they were giving me. That's a good. Well, they're certainly outliers in their friends. Another one's gone on the spreadsheet for my mum.
Oh no.
Yeah, and it was it's somebody who my dad went to school with.
Do you think she should make it a Google Doc though, so that we can take over it
up after? I don't think we need to worry. She's probably in. She'll be in Microsoft 365. So I'll just need her login credentials. It'll be fine.
I love her. I love a mother who's using Microsoft Exchange. I mean, nothing says mum like Microsoft.
She puts the mum in Microsoft.
Yes, I mean, it did make me think. It occurred to me, because of course there's more apartment saga, but it's not really that, except where I think we've pretty much finalised the kitchen, ready to ask for a fattura, so basically the invoice to pay, right? And every time we got a new...
Can I ask a question? Has it gone beyond 16,000?
No.
Okay, good.
No, but it's been...
I was worried.
It creeps up every time. I was joking with the man in the store who does not speak a lick of English, and I was saying, "What are you doing? What are you doing? Every time we finish this, it goes up." But he showed, we were kind of looking for what's called a magazzino, which is like a storage space. Part of it was basically it's going to be part of a fridge column, right? So you have the fridge, and then next to it is a magazzino. So you effectively create a floor to ceiling column, right?
Yeah, I know the kind of thing you're talking about.
Yeah, and he showed us one where you open the door and all the drawers kind of all just automatically come out. And it occurred to me then and there. First of all, moving parts.
More to break.
Like just the fewer moving parts as possible, the better. And the other thing was that, like, the idea of everything, reducing friction in everything. Like the idea that I couldn't reach in and get something out of a cupboard, that reaching, that rotation around the spine, or even that reaching up slightly was not somehow good for my body, as well as, it was a very strange kind of going. And when we were all joking about it, actually, not him, because at the point we were in English, just so that he wasn't offended, but was like how easy does one's life have to be? Like somehow we're kind of aiming for frictionless experiences in a fucking kitchen, a place of, I think of it as a place of work in the best sense of the word.
Yeah, but I think fewer and fewer people think about the work that happens in a kitchen, and they think about the leisure that happens in the kitchen, or they think about the display that happens in the kitchen. I think
ours is not a performative kitchen. That's true.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that one made me think about that, because certainly I've noticed that if we'd built this oven, this little kind of crappy little brick oven, if we'd built it right on the ground as opposed to on a kind of, it would have been a whole lot more harder work physically because of just that bending over, that constant sort of. Yeah. Anyway.
But before we kind of crash onto anything else, is there other catch-ups about the apartment that we need desperately to know? Because I think people are on tenterhooks, waited with bated breath.
So yeah, it looks like we're all settled. We're settled on the colour. Settled on we've made a decision about. This is an important thing that people will be. I'm sure they're thinking marble or tiles. And the reason they'll be thinking that is because we're about to remove 3 walls, and of course they will leave gaps in the marble.
In the floor. Yeah.
And part of the reason for the magazzino, the extra storage space, was it was going to cover the kind of intersection of those walls, which you would have effectively had a cross of exposed floor. Does that make sense?
Yeah, perfectly.
Yeah. And so we are, and the tricky thing is that you can't get the marble that is the marble floor, right? And so you're always going to get a version of it, and we've seen where they've tried to, along one of the skirting boards, where they've tried to replace the marble with another kind of marble, and it looks weird, right? And so our thought was, well, we'll actually make it really distinctive.
That would be my thinking as well.
Have a design.
Put a big piece of red marble in the middle.
Correct. Or, in fact, it won't be red because the kitchen's effectively red. It's a very browny red, but it is.
Right.
And not all of it, but that's enough to know. And and so, but also the thing about it is that they can't cut. They don't have whatever the word for marble people. They won't be on site. They'd be cutting it remotely and then bringing it to site, and then the people install it. And the problem is that it's not going to be even. There's going to be bits and pieces, right? So we have pragmatically gone for tiles. So we'll have tiles, but we've got a very good idea about design aspects of it. But it means that in those parts, there'll be kind of glossy, like high shine tiles instead of marble. That's been the big. That's been the big. Yeah. That's.
I'm just gonna throw into the mix something I'm sure you've considered, but I'm curious. No, although I love a wood floor. I do love. I'm sitting on one right now. I was thinking like a terrazzo where you kind of mix broken marble and sort of infill with and then high polish it.
Yes, we have thought about that, and we actually...
See, I knew you would have done.
Yeah, we have thought about the problem is because the floor... I mean, this is riveting, podcasters.
Yeah, it's fascinating. Yeah. It's absolutely fascinating.
Yeah, that we had thought about it, but because the marble floor itself is already, dare I say it, marbled, in terms of lots of... There's quite a lot going on, and variations from pinks to browns to reds to cream, that we felt like it would be too bitty.
Too much. Too busy.
Yeah. Too bitty and too busy.
Gotcha.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Right.
So good. Thank you, though. Good shout.
No. That's fine. That's fine. Yeah. Okay.
So that's the update. I'm going to be very soon going to be spending a lot of money, more than I was expecting, and they're going to start knocking down walls next week.
Will you have left by the time they take the first sledgehammer?
The apartment will be empty. And I mean, it's a great, I think it's one of my life's great tragedies. Tragedy's a little strong. Disappointments is better, that I won't be able to spend the entire time here helping. A, it would have been great for my vocabulary. B, it just would have been just so much fun just to be, not getting in the way, but also just doing things, learning. Not for them, probably.
Yeah, no, I've spent... too many of my formative years on building sites.
See, I haven't.
I never want to do that again.
I get, but I haven't. Yeah, so when we come back, it'll all be done.
Oh, that's exciting.
Although I think Lil will come back at the moment that the tiles, that part is going on.
How long does it take Lil to get from Rome?
Well, it's like a 40-minute flight.
Oh, okay, so a faff, but not the biggest faff.
Oh, I mean, effectively, once she'd got on the plane, it probably took me about as long to get to the airport as it took her, and I was driving a car.
Yeah.
It's like,
Well, this is very exciting news.
Yes, and this is a long intro. It's a 25-minute introduction.
I think this intro might be the episode, Simon, I'm just going to tell you.
Yeah. Did you... I mean, maybe we could say this. Did you end up doing your homework from a few weeks ago and watching that?
I did. I absolutely did. But before I come to that, because I've got very little to say about it, I'm just going to talk about language for a moment.
Go on.
So the day after my dad's birthday, was that right? No, 2 days after my dad's birthday, a load of friends of Antero, who, died last year.
Sorry, that was the pause after load of. I was thinking a load of. It was zipping through my mind all the possibilities of what
Fishes,
it might have been.
Loaves.
Yep. Assholes.
Friends.
Yeah.
It was load of friends of Antero's came for lunch, and it was very lovely. There was, it was heartbreaking and all those kinds of things as we remember.
Was it about a year ago that he died, or was it longer?
No, it was actually not quite. No, he died in June, early June, right. So it's not quite a year. But these are people that my parents haven't seen since the funeral. Yeah, so they came round, and it was fascinating because one of them had goodish English.
As good as your Portuguese?
Yes.
Yeah. So equivalent-ish.
Yeah. Equivalent-ish, yeah. One had less good English, and then 3 had no English at all. And it always strikes me how on earth my parents spend time with people who don't speak any English and they don't speak any Portuguese. But somehow they know stuff about them and they have a great time. Anyway, it was just so fascinating because nobody's English was better than my Portuguese. It's the first time I haven't been embarrassed about speaking Portuguese.
You were involved. You had a critical part to play in the evening.
Yeah, it was really, and JP, one of the guys, just kept saying to me or Bob, it's like, translate. and we would have to translate what was being said, and it was fascinating.
Such a good feeling, isn't it?
I mean, no. Well, yes, it was. It was brilliant, but it made me realise just how wanting my Portuguese is. Not that I needed to be reminded, but it was fascinating being asked, do you have kids? And having to kind of go, ooh, how are we going to say this? Because I'm not sure we've got the language.
I think the answer is no. Actually, it's quite easy.
No, because then you say no, and then the immediate follow-up is ¿por qué? Yeah, and it's like, okay, so...
Yeah.
So,
I think the word was...
just making our way through.
Yeah, gotcha. Oof.
But it was fascinating doing it in another language, because you realise how blunt you can be with language.
Yeah.
Okay, Adolescence.
Is this going to be a little...
It's going to be quick.
Little coda. Go on.
Yeah. So I watched Adolescence. Yeah, I did my homework. I watched it, I think, over a weekend.
Yeah.
And I thought it was fine. I see the importance of the story that's being told. I get that. If it's going to be an important piece of work, for me, there needs to be some sort of balance. Otherwise, it does that thing where it... And I think actually it tried really hard not to, but okay. I'm trying to find the right words, because it's not demonising the boy, although the boy is demonised because, he did something inappropriate, but he's also humanised and everything else. There's a complexity
Which is
there.
important, right? Yeah, it's
very, very important.
I can see myself, we've talked about, I can see myself in that boy.
Yeah. And I think what is difficult is the girl is only ever articulated through the lens of other people. So she never gets to be anything other than a story that is told and an excuse that is given. And she did this and she pushed me and she... Do you see what I mean? It's like... So she doesn't get to be complex. She doesn't get to be complex in the way that the 13-year-old boy gets to be complex. And it makes me go... Yeah, and I appreciate that. It's like I'm asking a horse to have wings, because that's not the show that they were making. But the critique I'm offering is, this is where I go, and so I'm not particularly interested in the show. Yeah.
I don't want to. None of that surprises me, that you would have that response to it. By the way, and I'm not suggesting that somehow you're predictable. This is not a critique of you, not at all. Right? It's a bit like
I'm not hearing.
No.
I agree that I am allergic to particular types of to particular types of script. I feel like it was a people sort of just like went with their hands. Yep. I watched Adolescence, so I understand it. Yeah, misogyny's bad. Ooh, Andrew Tate, what a naughty. And it's like that.
Yeah, and the fact that they name-checked Andrew Tate in a way was that, I thought that was just a little cheap. That was a kind of such an easy way out for the film and show, for the show.
Because we solve nothing by watching that show. That's the thing I think that really bothers me.
I mean,
That's it.
No, I was also just thinking about the key moment in the show for me is the father's recognition of his own complicitness in the violence. And that happens very close to the end. And also his violence and the perpetration of violence across generations. Like, to me, that's the part that really sunk its teeth into me in a way that the other stuff didn't. And so I just feel like it's just so easy just to cheapen, if that's the right word, or to sidestep the deep heart of the terrible aspects of violence amongst men against women. Well, that's cheery. Nice talking.
Nice talking, Simon. Lots of love.
See you next week. Bye.